Good morning, everybody. Hope y'all doing well this morning. We got a lot going on today. Severe weather is in the headlines the next several days here. We had a tornado up in Wisconsin. It was very strong last night, in addition to some other tornadoes in Kansas, Oklahoma, if I remember correctly. But anyway, in the coming days, we got severe weather potential, heavy rainfall, flooding potential, especially in the deep south here. And the current radar shows that line of storms moving to the southeast and rain all the way up into Michigan here. So, good morning. Like I said, my name is Tim Ayler, meteorologist. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Severe weather in the coming days, excessive rainfall, and what might be in our future after that. Like my video if you like it, subscribe, share with your friends, leave me any comments in the comments below, and let's get started here. So to start off the day with today's forecast, we're talking about the current hazards, right? So, um, we got tornado watch down here in Arkansas and Louisiana this morning until about 3 hours from now. We also have a mesoscale discussion for heavy rainfall here, um, just to the east of where this line of storms is moving through, right? So pretty strong storms moving through Fayetteville, Berryville, all these areas, all the way down to southern Texas, where definitely could have some hail concerns here, and high winds today. So this morning anyway, right? So going back to the current hazards, got some different flood warnings here, tornado warning here, and this storm in the southern, right between Arkansas and Texas here. Some flooding concerns down here with this severe thunderstorm warning, right? And some dense fog concerns along the coast and inland here in the Appalachians. Potential freezing precip here, not precip, but frozen just below normal, below freezing temperatures here will cause whatever moisture's on the ground to freeze overnight. So be careful if you're traveling this morning before it warms up. And a winter weather advisory up to the north here into parts of Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, with that frozen precip moving through, and up to the north here into Michigan. Dense fog up here as well. On the backside of this storm, we got some winter weather advisories, right? With the snow on the backside. Cold temperatures here. Pull up the temperatures real quick. I mean, not brutally cold, but below freezing. And in Colorado, it's a lot colder. That cold frontal passage yesterday. My daughter lives out here in Colorado, and they had like 6 inches of snow yesterday in Aurora. So very wet snow too. So quite unusual for out there. Anyway, take this off. Right. Got some wind, fire weather watch here in parts of New Mexico. Right. Very low humidity values. Let's look at the dew point real quick here. If we have it, right? Dew point. Hey, how about it? There we go. So you see the dew points here, just to the west of this area, even in that area, single digits, brutally dry, right? And high winds here today will, let's see what the wind speeds are. Not too bad right now, but if we get some high winds with these dry conditions out here, we're going to have problems. All right, so let's move on to the rest of the hazards here. Take this off. All right, so I know I'm kind of spending a lot of time on this, but I think it's important to talk about all this. So we got these high wind watches up here in Montana and parts of Wyoming as well. Looks like a gap event in certain areas here, okay? And on the California coast, up to 65 mile per hour winds here as well. And interior areas of California, even Las Vegas and Arizona, parts of Arizona as well. Nevada and Arizona are going to have some wind-related advisories today, actually for a couple days. So quite a lot to talk about today, and so we'll do all that in today's forecast, and then moving on to the subsequent days after that. So rain chances will return and linger through the weekend into next week with unsettled conditions and unseasonable warmth and summer-like pattern with storms bringing highest rain chances over the weekend into and lower chances next week. So for north and central Georgia here, severe risk is limited to points north of Macon today. The marginal risk of large hail, damaging winds. Damaging winds, the biggest risk, tornadoes between 4 p.m. and 2 p.m. tonight. So afternoon to evening, gusty winds. I wouldn't rule out a tornado, weak tornado, or some large hail, but biggest threat is damaging winds with this today. High temperatures today, 70s in northeast Georgia, 80 in Atlanta, 85 in Vidalia, where it'd probably be the sun will be out more, right? But to the north and to the west, the precip chances are higher, so temperatures will be lower with the cloud cover here. Tonight in the 60s mostly for Georgia. North Georgia has the most precip chances. Moving further to the south, we almost get nil in southern Georgia. Tomorrow, highs in the 60s to mid 80s in far southeastern Georgia, the highest precip chances in western Georgia here, right? Generally along a line from Macon northward, points southward a little bit, lower precip chances into tomorrow. As we get into the extended through the middle part and maybe to next weekend, highs in the 80s, right? And then cooling off some overnight. During the day it'll be near normal and getting above normal again briefly, and probably getting slightly near or above normal, slightly near normal or above or below here. A lot of uncertainty in the longer term here, but overall cooling down to what we consider average for highs and lows during the extended period here. So as we start off today's forecast discussion, we're going to review the excessive rainfall outlook and go over the severe weather threat as well. Then we go into a little bit deeper about the timing and my thoughts about the best chances where severe weather will be today. So starting off with excessive rainfall, we got the slight risk here going all the way down to Houston area, north, westward into parts of Arkansas, just a small part of southwestern Tennessee, most of Mississippi here, and most of Louisiana as well, with a larger marginal risk all the way up into New York, all the way down towards almost the Texas-Mexican border here. So quite a wide area with excessive rainfall, with this cold front siding to the south, kind of washing out in this area, which will lead to heavy rainfall and rainfall over the same area over and over again. So hence the slight risk here. So you look at the QPF for today, which is the rainfall total here. So you can see why that slight risk is right there. A couple inches of rain today in this area. As far as severe weather today, I mean this follows kind of where the excessive rainfall outlook is. Got this slight risk of severe weather down in the south here and up to the north, right? So this spans from roughly Del Rio, Texas, all the way up to Tupelo, Mississippi here, points northward towards Dallas, south to Houston, right? And a sliver of western Alabama here. And we got this slight risk up here as well, up towards Buffalo, Beckley, West Virginia, right? And a larger area in the marginal risk for severe weather today. So all the way down just to north of Macon here, and all the way up to near Kingston, New York. So, and general thunderstorms on the outer edge of this here and into Florida as well. So moving on to the tornado risk for today. Yesterday they had a small tornado risk down here to the south. Doesn't look like that's on the books for today. But what they did do here is they have a marginal risk and a larger 5% risk. It's a 2% risk here for general tornadoes, which means like EF2 or less than EF2, right? Although there's a possibility of a stronger one, right? But I mean, tornadoes aren't going to be confined to the box we give them necessarily. But this small area here has a 5% tornado risk, but if a tornado does form, it could be strong. So reasonably expected up to EF2, okay, possible. Although the risk is relatively low, 5%, right? If it does form, like I said, you could have a strong tornado here. All right, so now going into wind, we have a larger wind risk here, right? Pretty much encompasses the whole area, regular with the categorical, with the exception of the southern part of this, and that's the hail risk, right? So you have your general wind risk here, and Mississippi, Louisiana area, and parts of Texas, and up here into West Virginia, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and New York. And the hail risk, less likely in Kentucky, and Tennessee, and West Virginia, with large hail over 2 inches diameter possible here in this stippled region. This is SIG 1, right? So 15% chance, and within this stippled area, you got a 50%, 15% chance of seeing hail 2 inches in diameter. Okay, outside that area, 1 inch in diameter, 15% chance, and a lower risk in the brown here. So the day two excessive rainfall outlook, at least right now, we have a marginal risk into parts of the Gulf Coast here, right? The parts of the Texas Gulf Coast, all the way into extreme western Florida Panhandle up to the Atlanta area, northern Alabama near Coleman to near Jackson, Mississippi, Winsboro, Louisiana, and just south of Freeport near Mansfield, and into Texas, Bryan, Texas here, and Carneth City and Beeville, interesting name. So the most moisture here expected with this, not overly impressive, but the multi-day heavy rainfall is contributing to this threat, I think, as we go through this period. As we transition from day one to day two, this is day one, it's your outlook. This is day two. Here's your marginal risk here in parts of North Carolina, parts of little part of northern South Carolina, parts of southern Virginia, with general thunderstorms expected in the other areas here. This is mostly a wind risk, although small, and hail risk as well. So let's see, 5% hail risk and 5% wind risk in this area. So could have some gusty winds with these storms that move through. Dynamics aren't that impressive, but we may, depends on how the conditions end up into tomorrow. So we'll see, right, what happens here. As we go into Sunday, the pattern flattens out here, right? And but we have this mid-level jet streak right here, is right, which is the impetus for severe weather. At least tornadoes possible here in the mid-Atlantic tomorrow. The mid-level feature is out here, hanging back, right? Sunday afternoon. The flow becomes more zonal, west to east, even here, right? And it's interesting, this flow pattern, all the way from the desert southwest all the way into the southeast. Can't help me think that maybe we'll get some EML advecting to the east here. I'll have to look at that, but kind of an interesting, what I mean by EML is elevated mix layer. All right, so let's take a sounding here from middle Georgia. It takes a minute to come up. So you can see the hint of maybe a little bit of a warm nose aloft here, right? And very steep lapse rates with some good shear values here. But the surface-based cape of 1,500 joules per kilogram, which is interesting. The shear vectors are kind of weird, but it's pretty good shear in the atmosphere as well. Lapse rates are pretty strong. So let's go back to the west a little bit. Let's see here. Take the sounding out west here. Very dry right here. um, all right, so this is into Monday afternoon. So I meant to just go through Sunday's forecast here. So we go through the NAM. Let's go to the south here. Actually, let's go to the northeast first, real quickly here. Look at what's going on there. Sunday, showers and storms move through the northeast. The NAM maybe shows some storms firing up in the afternoon here. Well, it doesn't seem that bullish on severe storms here. So let's take a look at some Cape values. Cape values are enough for to get some severe weather here. Supercell composite, we have the potential for some supercells here. Significant tornado potential is there. Oh, look at updraft felicity. When we get towards the end of the day, overnight to Monday, we get an increase in those values here as well. Okay. Storm relative velocity is along this boundary is maximized. Okay. So the possibility is there. So let's take a look at simulated reflectivity again. Showers and storms kind of move through, and then another round moves through and moves out to the southeast. Go on the HRR. Okay. Let's go back with the HRR a little bit. See if we can get, this is 6Z, so see if 10Z goes out far enough. Got that line of storms moving up to the north here. Saturday into Sunday. No, this is go far enough. So let's go back to 6Z where it goes out a little bit further. Doesn't show a heck of a lot going on here. Although, you know, we'll see here. Let's look at the mean layer Cape. Got some sin though too, some convective inhibition here. Felicity, significant tornado. Not nearly as bullish as the NAM. So I guess we'll see how this plays out for the northeast here. Let's go down to the south. All right. Convection at the surface. Yeah, here we go. Simulated reflectivity. So yeah, down to the south in parts of Alabama, Saturday into Sunday morning, we got some pretty intense storms along this line here, right? And looks like it washes out here pretty quickly as it loses its forcing, right, into Sunday morning. Almost nothing here, but we could have some severe weather in North Georgia as those storms push through. All right, so let's take a look at the sounding here if we can get one going to NAM. The NAM nest is a little more bullish on these storms initially, right? So Sunday, different storms moving through the Atlanta area, and it wants to develop an MCV type system moving through Sunday afternoon and evening into the deep south. Let's look at the sounding ahead of this real quick. Takes a minute for it to come up sometimes. Loading kind of slow today. Probably a lot of people using it. So marginal severe conditions in this area with not a lot of instability in the morning here. So shear values are kind of nominal here. So let's go back to the Atlanta area here. It's taking forever. Sorry, guys, but same kind of thing here. pretty saturated thermal profile with pretty weak lapse rates. So, um, although we do have a pretty um, long shear vectors, they are pretty linear here. So, if anything does form, it'll likely be it'll be a wind maker or maybe some hail here, but most likely wind because of the saturated thermal profile aloft here. So, um, yeah, not that impressed with this. So this is a day 3 to 7 U.S. hazards look, and we'll talk about this in my extended range forecast. Not so much the high winds and heavy precip out west, but we'll focus on the heavy rainfall here potential in the extended, as well as severe weather here, 10th and 11th. Of course, the high winds and the higher terrain out west here are a problem as well, although we don't talk about it as much. Heavy precip expected here, possibly here along the northwest coast, as well as hazardous cold and high winds in southern Alaska during this 3 to 7 day U.S. hazards outlook period. Going a little bit further, an 8 to 14 day period here, you have a slight risk of heavy precip along the northwest coast. We kind of talked about that in the 3 to 7 day risk, and along the eastern seaboard here as well. Snow, we have a slight risk of heavy snow here in the higher terrain out west, the 14th through the 16th and 18th, 14th through the 16th in the northeast. High winds are possible here the 14th through the 18th on the northwest coast, the 14th through the 16th in the higher terrain up here in out west, and the northeast, the 15th through the 17th. Slight risk here into southern Alaska, the 14th through the 17th as well. Temperatures, no hazardous temperatures expected in the lower 48, Alaska, 14th to the 20th, and the 14th to the 15th. A slight risk of below normal temperatures here. So for day 4, this is Tuesday, severe weather outlook, and we're going to talk about these severe weather outlooks, more severe weather extended, excuse me, in my forecast here. But generally extending from near San Antonio all the way up to Shelbyville, Indiana, and to the west here into parts of Oklahoma and points to the southeast in Arkansas here, parts of Illinois and southeastern Iowa as well. The SBC did note this will probably change in scope and intensity in the coming days, but overall, pretty good agreement in the models. The threat moves further to the east and extends back up into Pennsylvania, Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee, Mississippi, and Arkansas for Wednesday, right? And then after that, no severe threat on the books at least through the end of the week, right? So hopefully we'll be done with severe weather here. But as part of that threat, we got excessive rainfall here. So day 4, excessive rainfall, we see where that is. Generally where that severe weather threat is and to the east of it, right? From Del Rio, Texas, all the way up towards Milwaukee, Detroit, parts of Indiana, Ohio, parts of Arkansas here, southeastern Kansas, most Oklahoma here, and again back down to Del Rio, Texas here, and right near San Antonio as well. Day 5, the threat moves further to the east, along with the severe weather threat, right? Shreveport into most of Arkansas, northern Mississippi, western Tennessee, west central Kentucky, most of Ohio towards Cleveland, parts of Michigan, most of Indiana towards Fort Wayne, southeast central Illinois, southeastern Missouri. Like I said, most of Arkansas here. So a lot going on with this. And so let's look at the excessive rainfall for the total period here. Okay, bring this up. So you see where the heaviest rainfall is potentially going to fall. Heaviest rain is potentially going to fall here. There's snow out west in the higher terrain, but the highest rainfall totals along the Gulf Coast here. So as we go into Monday, Sunday into Monday here, we got different short waves moving through the flow here. We got our severe weather that moves through here too, to the northeast, and into Monday morning, short wave here. Another short wave in the flow here, and your mid-level feature out west here, which is hanging back. Right, it looks like maybe a mid-level feature moving through the flow on Monday here with this short wave. Okay, let's take a look at the surface here real quick with this. See if there's anything to talk about. maybe bring some showers and storms with that short wave on Monday in the southeast here. Okay, go on to the HR. Let's look at that, see what it shows. Yeah, we probably got this convective complex moving through into the Gulf. Short wave bringing some enhanced precip offshore into central and southern Georgia as you get through the period. And that low is offshore here. Some snow up to the north here along this boundary, right? So going back to the mid-level flow, I know I'm bouncing back and forth here, but vorticity, go to GFS. I'm just using one model here, but you know, this is a 6Z. I'm trying to go to GFS. I don't know why I did that. All right, so short waves, right? We talked about that. The short wave kind of dampens out here, but moves offshore. Finally, this trough ejects here, okay? And then you have it really deepening into in here during this period, right? This is Tuesday into Wednesday. It interacts with the northern stream energy, right? So when this happens, you really get some vertical motion. You see the deep southerly flow here as we get in the different levels, right? 700, 850, the vorticity, right? So let's look at the moisture. When we look at temperatures, right, we can look at the surface temps. At 920 millibar temperature is a good proxy for the surface. You see the warm air streaming up here to the north ahead of this boundary, right, into Thursday. And cold front pushes through, right, and drier air at the surface. We go back to surface here, dew point. See how dry it is, with the exception along the east coast. Cooling off quite a bit Thursday to next week. Then eventually moisture returns here to the south. So quick shot, cool down here. Look at temperatures. Zoom in a little bit. Right, I still pretty warm, but not as warm as it has been, right? So we start this off, we look at temperatures 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s here. As we get further on, that colder air pushes to the south. And then maybe into next weekend, we get some colder air still here. We're warming out west, and maybe a colder push of air to the north here. You see this cold air bottled up here as well. Okay. This is the 14, 7 days out. And this is where I'm going to stop this. But just for argument's sake, let's see what the temperatures look like. GFS wants to bring another cold push of air further to the south here. So with pretty cold temperatures in the Midwest here. So yeah, negative teens here. So that's not pretty cold. That's brutal. So yeah, so keep an eye on that. But anyway, that's a little bit of a longer term. So going back to like Monday, right? So is where we're at with this 60s, 70s. Okay, dew points are high. Atmosphere is prime for severe weather, right? So let's look at some of the severe weather parameters here. Severe, we only have storm relative velocity with a GFS and supercell composite with this, right? So during this time period of interest, for Tuesday into Wednesday, right, we have the severe threat in these areas streaming all the way up to the north here, right? So we look at severe threat for that day. Let's see, probabilistic day 4, day 4. Okay, this is 1, 2 today, 2. This is Tuesday, right? So you see severe threat right here, okay? And so the excessive rainfall threat, let's look at that. See, the excessive rainfall is in the same area, okay? So that's part of what's going on with this, okay? So probabilistic day 4, okay? So There it is. There's your severe threat, and if you go back to this, you see the supercell composite values here. Mixed layer cape, according to GFS, very high here. Let's see if the Euro will show anything with this. It doesn't do cape values. I forgot about that. APHIS, I don't think it does severe either. No. Let's see if we can get the NAM this far out. Tuesday. Yeah, let's take a look real quick. Simulated radar. So moisture moving through, right? Tuesday, and then you see Tuesday afternoon, low pressure developed on the east side of the Rockies. Snow up to the north here, and severe weather potential and heavy rainfall here in this area. So let's take a look at the Rufus, see if it goes out this far too. It shows basically the same thing here. Maybe some more storms up into um, Missouri as well. So the northern side of this, of course, we have snow, right? So surface low. Let's go back to the GFS. All right. Surface lows move to the north. Into Wednesday, you have this push and a cold front pushing to the east here. Okay. Surface low to the north. You have snow to the north of this, right? This boundary. And cold front pushes through even to the south here. Pushed offshore. And that really ends our severe weather threat for a little while as the dew points and temperatures cool down, right? Dew points cool down. The moisture in the atmosphere isn't present anymore, right? So, like we would expect, the dew points, although dew points are streaming back up to the north here again. But the SPC has said after that time period, it doesn't look like after the extended, it really doesn't look like we got much severe threat, at least right now. So just for giggles, let's take a look at the future simulated radar, the GFS, Saturday, March 14th. Got another surface low developing out here, according to the GFS. And we look at the 500 millibar pattern here, vorticity. Want to develop another trough here on the lee side of the Rockies, dig it to the east. Now, how this sets up at this point is really uncertain, but we could get the return of severe weather in this area here, right? So we'll have to see how that plays out. But we do know on the north side of this, if this plays out, let's compare it to the European. European is more progressive and less amplified with this. It wants to develop something off the east coast here. So a lot to figure out here in the long term. And it has this Baja low hanging out here out west here with ridging potentially building out west. So maybe return to colder temperatures as we get towards, yeah. So you see the high pressure building at 500 millibars here. You have a low out west, a low to the east, bringing colder air down to the south here. Okay, so we'll see how that plays out in the future here. Well, that's it for today. I know I talked about a lot of things. I appreciate y'all watching, and I know I rambled on a little bit, but I'm trying to get as detailed as possible and talk like I would talk to a friend here. I hope you got something out of this today. Have a great weekend. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Be safe and God bless.